and there's just this deep crack, and it echoes throughout the throughout the trees. We start freaking out, and so we get real flat and start crawling towards the side there.
Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Dylan Callier. I'm a physical therapist, and welcome to the New Medical Nomads podcast, where I get to document my journey as a medical traveler, as well as interview other experts within the traveling field. Now, the rules for the traveling game are constantly changing, so anything you hear on this show should be for entertainment purposes only. This is not legal, financial, or medical advice. Enjoy the show and safe travels.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the New Medical Nomads podcast. Today, I am with a traveling physical therapy couple, and their name is Rachael and Dusty. And Rachael, Dusty, can you give us a little information about yourselves, how you got into traveling, and where you're at in the world right now?
We got into traveling. It was something that we wanted to do while we were in school, and we decided that we were going to kind of hold off for a year, save up, get full-time jobs after we graduated, and we just started there. So we had full-time jobs for a while, got married, and then we were like, let's just travel. We need to go do it now, or we're never going to. So we just kind of started this traveling thing, and now we've been in it 3 years now, and it doesn't look like we're stopping anytime soon at this point. So it's just, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it was, initially we wanted to start out doing this out of school, but it just worked out better with us, going, and we were living with her dad when we got full-time jobs and worked for about a year and a half, and it just kind of worked out better for us because we got experience and we saved up, and we were closer to family, and we're planning our wedding and all that stuff, and that's a lot more time consuming than we anticipated, and involves a lot more stuff than you think. So it was good to be close to home to do that stuff.
That's awesome. So you guys, you always wanted to do it, and then you just kind of made the leap of faith about a year coming out of school. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of spontaneous, and I think what every almost traveler's dream is find that plus one if they're wanting a relationship and just going off and having adventures.
Yeah, and it's nice too that we're both physical therapists. So we do the same thing, and everybody just always is asking us, how do you guys find jobs? And we're like, I don't know, we just have these recruiters that find us jobs, and we just go. And we're like, okay.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for being on the show. I don't think I've ever been as excited as I am right now to be a third wheel. But when you guys are looking for contracts and going out, do you work in the same settings?
We have worked in the same setting before, and we worked in the same clinic once. That's not really our ideal situation, only because we like to be apart during the day.
Yeah.
And it worked out for the time being, but we were like, I really like spending time with you, but maybe not the whole day. So we always tell people we would be more than willing to work at the same clinic, but if they have two separate places, it works out better. Just, to talk about our day with each other later, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, and we've done home health before with the same company, but with home health, we're still independent with driving to patients' homes and
right.
So,
are you guys do you guys enjoy more outpatient or inpatient or home health?
I think we both prefer outpatient.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've pretty much done a little bit of everything. Like, if we do home health, I think both of us, we like to be doing the same home health position, just because it's kind of nice to have a partner when you're doing home health. Like, if you want to kind of split up the location, or you need a break from a certain caseload or something like that, you can just say, hey, do you mind taking this person? And it's just so much easier to just switch it up and then say, hey, I'll take this person if you take this one. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And then you can kind of just, it's like your team, and it's just a lot easier, I think, in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, I like acute and outpatient, like a mix. So, but yeah, we've done a little bit of everything.
Very cool. I'm assuming, but I don't know personally, so I'll ask, do you have to be a little more flexible to try and find areas that will have two positions at the same time, or two positions that are needed to be filled? Or has that really not been an issue for you guys?
Hasn't been an issue, like with going to certain states. Maybe like a lot of our places we've been to, we've been in smaller towns.
Okay.
So not like big cities.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we had to be a little bit more flexible with going to more rural areas sometimes. But I mean, I think we kind of enjoy that better because we don't really prefer the big city lifestyle. So it kind of works out. But so far, we haven't had really any problems with finding jobs for both of us. I think one time there was a outpatient position for me, but Rachel was able to find pretty steady PRN work at some nursing facilities around the town. So
Got it.
it worked out fine. But yeah, up until now, we haven't had really all that much trouble.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah, I'm always willing to have him work full time, and I'll just find like PRN wherever.
That's funny. How did you guys meet? So was it, I know you guys went to PT school together. Did you meet there, or was this a relationship before?
We met in PT school.
Okay.
And
Scandalous.
We just started off as friends, but I don't know. We were always like, oh, we would never date in our PT class. That's horrible. And I don't even know. I don't even know. It just started out dating, and that was about it.
Mm-hmm. And now, where did you guys go to school?
Wichita State.
Wichita State, which is what you told me before we started, was same class that Kelly Berg was in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The show. So very cool. Small world.
Yeah. Since
you've kind of started traveling, you guys got out of school, worked a little bit, got married, got hitched, and then went off on this adventure. What are some of the pros that you've seen working as a team, as a couple? And what are some of the cons that you've kind of noticed? I think we may have covered it a little bit with the being flexible with contracts, and then also having somebody willing to take PRN, take that bullet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I get one of the pros is being the same profession. You kind of know what the other person's going through and understand what their day is like, because you've probably had a similar day and vice versa. So
got it.
That's just one of the pros of doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like it too, because when you're doing this by yourself, I mean, I imagine you have to find your housing and get all of the like travel arrangements together. Well, we kind of like split those duties. So I don't know. I think I'm a little bit better at finding housing. I don't know than he would, but and just taking care of some things while we're on the road. And where he's a lot better with like organizing paperwork and making sure that we have all of our like licensing up to date and everything, like,
And packing.
yeah, and packing. Where he's better at that, I would say, like, it's kind of nice because we can split it.
Got it. What do you guys drive to new locations? Because I know one of the problems some travelers have is having too much stuff in their vehicle, and then I can't imagine having double the stuff.
We originally when we first started, I had a Pontiac Grand Prix and Rachel has a Toyota Camry. But then I think it's almost been 2 years now. I bought a Chevy Silverado 4x4 diesel, and I bought that because I'd talked to my dad and other people about possibly towing Rachel's car and then having more bed space and
awesome.
and just more space in general for packing our stuff. And,
yeah.
then it also gave us, a chance for. I basically do the driving and Rachel.
Yeah,
from the passenger seat, but
I can
that way we're not both having to drive at the same time, and so and we've done that the last, I think, 3 assignments, and it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah. Got it. And I feel like each time we go on a travel assignment, especially like since we went to Hawaii and we only took like our checked bags, like we've pretty much downsized. Like, I mean, I feel like when we started in Tucson, those cars were packed. I mean, like you can fit oh my gosh, it was terrible. But now it's just to the point where, I mean, we just pretty much take what we need, and if we forget something, we just figure it out or buy it there.
Got it. Got it.
But yeah, I definitely pack a lot more.
Yeah, she still overpacks the clothes.
Yeah, I can imagine those drives are a little bit better with a co-pilot versus. Did you guys like walkie-talkie before or anything like that? I know when I was a kid growing up, we would have family trips, and I guess this was before cell phones, so they would have a walkie-talkie in each vehicle and like contact like that.
Oh, no, that would have been a good idea, but.
Yeah, we just pretty much followed each other, and then we would say, "Hey, it's time to pull over," or like, "Are you bored? Because I am," or something like that.
You mentioned Hawaii. How was getting a contract out there as 2 physical therapists? And then often I hear that if you take someplace like in Hawaii, you're taking a little bit of a pay cut. And I was curious if that was true.
I mean, we both, Hawaii was like my bucket list. Like I wanted to go, like when I traveled, I was like, I just want to go to Hawaii. I want to go to Hawaii. And every time I was like, what about Hawaii? Like we need to go there. And it was like our last chance to finally like do it, or we had to renew our license, and they had 2 jobs for us there. And I feel like it was typical pay, but it wasn't like comparable to the cost of living, but it wasn't like we were taking a huge pay cut either.
Okay.
I don't know. The other thing was like the job that we had was awesome. Like they just basically let us like travel and sightsee during the day because they were so laid back, like the culture there. And maybe it was just us getting really lucky, but probably lucky. But we would like be going to the beach and shark tours and I don't know what else, like, and they're just like, yeah, if you want to schedule people later or never or whatever, just do what you need to do. So, and I had always been told like we would never find 2 jobs in Hawaii, like, so, I was just like, so there, we went to Hawaii.
and that was one of the places we did home health, which, that's not our first choice setting wise, but we figured that might be our best shot to be able to go out there, was to take those 2 home health jobs. And yeah, like Rachel said, we got real lucky. It was the company had just started a few months before we got out there, and I think they kind of over expected more patients. They were expecting to get this big influx of patients, so they hired a bunch of therapists and nurses and all this, and then they just never got the patients while we were there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were only averaging like maybe 10, 15 hours a week, and we were we were guaranteed 40 a piece. So,
okay, no, that's good.
But I mean, yeah, it was fun.
So yeah, we basically would schedule patients like 2 of the days of the week, and then had those other 3 weekdays plus the weekends to kind of schedule and do whatever we wanted. So
that sounds amazing.
It was like a 4-month honeymoon, I guess. I don't know.
Didn't they not give you the option to extend?
They did.
Oh wow!
And
okay.
I know, we were really surprised too, but I mean, I think after a while we were like, all right, we're ready to come back. And
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, being at Hawaii, you're on an island, and there's only so much you can do before you kind of have done it all. I think we had done everything that we had wanted to do, and I mean, we were kind of running out of ideas of things to do, but
oh man, I could have been there forever.
Well,
but I mean,
maybe more so me than her, but
he was ready to get back to hunt.
Got it.
Yeah, it's fun.
What do you guys do for your health insurance situation? So do you usually take what the company offers you to, if you're sticking with one company, or to keep that freedom of working with multiple, do you go out and get your own insurance?
We just do our own insurance. We did Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we just self-pay just to keep the freedom of being able to switch to different companies, which it's just kind of funny because we haven't ever really switched companies. We still keep it open. But I think this contract that we're starting, we're going to take the company's insurance and just kind of see how it works out.
This company's insurance it's cheaper, so we'll save money. And we also received notice that the current policies we have, they're no longer going to have next year. So they would be canceling by December anyway. So we just went ahead and switched to our company for this.
Got it. Yeah. Is it a little more incentivized for you guys being a couple and getting insurance on your own? Do you guys maybe get better rates versus doing it individually?
No, I mean, you still have, I don't think so. I mean, you still have to take out your own plans, and I mean, I mean, unfortunately, it's one of those things you have to have.
Yeah, it was pretty expensive for not a lot of coverage.
Got it. Yeah, I've yet to delve into that, so I'm not necessarily looking forward to that part.
Yeah. I mean, and we don't really use our insurance very often, so it's just one of those things that now we're like, let's just take the company insurance. Yeah. And I mean, if we have to get new insurance, then we'll just switch.
Right. Got it. So, kind of going down the list of questions here, what's your guys' lifestyle when you get to a new place? So Dusty, sounds like you're a hunter and you like the Chiefs.
Yep. I mean, one of the first things we do after we, get an assignment and find out where we're going is I Google where there are the closest gyms and fitness centers, because we both work out and like to stay active. And so that's one of the first things we do. And then we, find out membership rates and kind of compare and see which ones are going to be closer to where we're planning on staying, and kind of go from there.
Got it.
And we've done some of the fitness classes that they offer, like up in Maine. We actually got a membership at a small college there. They opened up their student rec center to the public, and it was pretty cheap. It was, I think, $35 a month for the two of us. And they offered free classes. Rachel did the spin classes, and then we did this running class, an outdoor fitness class, and we met some people that way.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Oh, sorry, 1 second. And then one other thing we look at right when we get to a place is like all the breweries.
Nice.
We're big brewer. I mean, I know it's one of those things that we like the regional beers and like going and trying. We really haven't done a lot of wineries, but for some reason we just always do breweries and trying like local restaurants and things like that.
Got it.
And we look up hiking trails too. I do a lot of the planning for that, but I mean, that's pretty much where my mind goes, is like, what are we doing on our weekends? And let's start planning weekend trips.
Got it. Sometimes when people travel, they have certain souvenirs that they'll pick up at each spot that they go to, like shot glasses or maybe a deck of cards or something like that. Is that something you guys do?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah.
We collect a lot of magnets for our refrigerator, and Christmas ornaments.
Christmas ornaments
is another one that we do.
Nice.
I feel like I collect like honey. I don't know when I started this thing, but I'll get honey and because it's like magnets. We're gonna look like hoarders with all these magnets. And we don't have enough Christmas trees for all of the ornaments that we have anymore. And so I'm like, we need to get different things. And he collects beer bottles. So beer can, the different regional beers. I mean, it's just going to be, it's like a explosion in our storage of these collections.
So it doesn't sound like you guys travel with all the collections and items that you have. Do you have a storage shed back home that you keep it all in, or where do you store it?
We keep it at in my dad's basement. So we always joke that that's like our storage unit because pretty much we've overtaken the basement with our stuff.
Got it.
Yeah, we still have our pile of unopened wedding presents in one of the rooms.
Yeah. It'd be nice to open those one day.
Might be a little weird to send out one of those thank you cards 3 years later.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the cheese grater. We really appreciate it.
We finally got to use it.
Hopefully none of it's food or something. That would be a terrible wedding gift, but
I mean, I hope not.
What is something that you guys kind of travel with that has really helped you along your journeys? Can be a physical item, or even a phone app or a computer program, anything like that.
I think one thing that we always usually take with us is our Keurig coffee maker.
Nice.
Because we like our coffee. And then we also take I have a Google Chrome stick that we can use. And some of the places we go to, they don't have cable.
Got it.
So it's good to have that to plug in the TV and hook up to the internet and stream Netflix or ESPN or whatever we want to with that.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Google Maps always, because we never know where we're going. I mean, relatively, but and I just downloaded I think it's Untapped is what it is. It's like where you can find local breweries and rate them. So
Oh yeah, that'll come in handy.
yeah, we use that too.
Nice. Yeah, that one was helpful for some of the breweries that I went to, because I would always forget which beers that I had, or usually I would kind of sample. So I'd get like 3 different ones, and then I'd come back and be like, oh, there was one that was really good, but there was also one that was awful, and I don't want that one. And so that one's kind of come in clutch.
Oh, my bad.
What is the biggest myth that you have found to be about traveling physical therapy or medical traveling?
I mean, one that I thought was you'll never get to go to Hawaii. People always told us that'll never happen. They also told us that you'd probably have to make a lot less. Or I'd hear that nobody would want 2 travelers. I mean, we had places that were looking for 1 traveler, and they heard that there were 2 of us, and they were like, yeah, sure.
Oh, wow.
Come on over. I mean, I think a lot of it is like we have a good recruiter that is just willing to put us out there and ask. And typically, like, people will be like, oh, if they're a couple, then they're gonna want to come here, and they're probably looking for somewhere to like settle, I think is the idea.
Got it.
And it might happen, I don't know, but maybe, but it's been interesting, and yeah, I just think.
And one of the other ones is you always hear about how there's not a lot of outpatient jobs out there, but we've been able to find several, so they are out there.
Got it. When you do get in those situations where they're looking for 1 therapist, and then they find out a couple's looking to come in, do they just negotiate 1 contract for the 2 of you, or is it 2 separate contracts?
2 separate contracts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. What are some, and this can be traveling related, or this can just be personal interest, either books or personalities or other podcasts that you guys follow?
Well, it's not really a podcast, but I like, I don't know if you've ever heard of him. It's E.T., the hip hop preacher.
I've not.
Oh my gosh, I love him. He like does these motivational like videos, and a lot of the time he'll do them with the All Blacks. I think they're like the New Zealand rugby team, and so they'll be chanting and doing all these things, and it just kind of gets me like pumped up for my day. So it's just one of the things I just really like to listen to. So it just helps a lot, I think.
Are they like videos, or are they audio? How long are they?
Some are audio and some are video, and I try to keep it to like, I think they're about 15 minutes. Some of them can be a little bit longer, but typically for me, it's like if I'm driving to work, I can listen to it, and then I'm like, yes, I'm just ready to like go out and get this day done, and it's one thing that it has just helped a lot with like confidence and just work, I guess, getting through work. Especially when you start a new job, it's kind of nice to have something to listen to that's like just, I don't know, hypes you up for the day, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't followed too many podcasts, or I guess there's some groups on Facebook I follow. The NSPA, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, they have several like subgroups. strength and conditioning, tactical strength,
Very cool.
youth athletes, sports and rehab medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just follow those, and people post articles and different things on there, and those are interesting to read and good way to get the research and stuff that people want us to have.
Yeah. Do you have to be a part of the NSCA to be a part of that group?
No, it's a closed group, but you can ask to join, and then somebody approves you. And
Got it.
I didn't have any problems. I just asked, and then like the next day, I saw that I got approved, and that was all.
Yeah. But you have your CSCS. We both have our CSCS. Okay. So
we are members, but
Got it. So for the listeners, the CSCS is a core strength and conditioning specialist, and it's what would you call it? I don't know if personal training certification would be the correct term with it, because there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think of it as like strength coach, or maybe a health and wellness coach, but primarily like strength and conditioning coaches.
Got it.
Yeah, it's just like a certification credential that, I don't know, shows that you have more understanding or, expertise in strength and conditioning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you guys feel that's helped you kind of market yourself when you're looking, especially like the outpatient settings?
I mean, I feel like it's helped us a lot get outpatient jobs for sure. Okay. Just because, I mean, we put it on there and we never really thought about it. We actually got our strength and conditioning certification while we were still in school.
Yeah.
Just because we thought, hey, we're going to be PTs. We might as well have this too. And it's cheaper to get it now than when we get out. So we went ahead and got it. And so we'll put the initials after our names, and people ask, oh, that's, what is that? And we'll just tell them what it is. And they're like, oh, okay. And I think it helps when we're interviewing for outpatient jobs.
Got it.
To make you a little bit more marketable.
Got it. And this might be a little more of a nitty-gritty question, but when you guys are working in those outpatient settings, how much work comp caseload do you guys see?
Oh, I haven't seen very much. You've probably seen more than I have.
One of my assignments was actually at a clinic that was always saw.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's what they specialized in. That was the demographic that they were wanting to see. They had different relationships with occupational doctors around the area, and that's who they kind of marketed towards.
Got it.
And that's who and then that company in particular, they worked a lot with a lot of the companies and industries around the town, and they wrote a bunch of their like pre-employment physical tests and job descriptions. They would go and I guess what's the word? Follow the people and kind of see what a typical day looks like. And they would write job descriptions and then make the pre-employment tests off those. And that company, if they were to have a person get injured, they would send them to the doctor, and then the doctor would come and see us for however long that they wrote the script for or whatever.
Got it. How much guidance did you get at that specific job? Because I know there's a lot that goes into with communicating with like case managers and communicating with case adjusters. Did they tell you kind of like how they did it while you were there, or was it kind of just here's orientation and here's a caseload?
I mean, being a traveler, the orientation's definitely sped up quite a bit because they're paying more to have you there, and so they want you to working as much and as fast as you can. So I think there was a couple day of orientation, and then they had templates that they showed me about emails to send to case managers and the doctors as well, and all the phone numbers and contact lists of all the different case managers. When you would eval the patient, give them a call, let them know what you kind of saw and what you were thinking, and what you thought the outcome would be, how fast they could get back to work, things like that.
Got it.
But yeah, I mean, after the couple days of orientation, you kind of learned it on the fly a little. But it worked out okay.
What is your guys's, I'm especially interested in this question because you're a couple, but favorite traveling story so far?
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. This is good. So in Hawaii, did you plan this trip? I think he planned this trip. He must have. But anyways, we were planning on going to this trail that the locals said it's one of the best trails of the island. And we put it into our Google Maps, and they took us to this place. And in Hawaii, they just have these like little box signs that just say trail. And we thought, okay, well, here we go. We start going up the trail, and it's marked with like a little pink ribbon or something. And we're like climbing, and it's pretty like steep, and we're just in like shorts and tennis shoes, and we're like on tiny trails, and there's just drop offs on either side of us, and we just turn and look at each other, and we're like, are you okay to keep going? And he's like, yeah, sure, if you can go, I can go. And I'm like, all right, well, we keep going up, and it was just supposed to be a short loop trail, and it never started going down. And I just remember like we keep climbing, and we were like in the clouds, and we had like a couple of ropes that were already there. Who knows how long? This is not like the smartest thing to ever do, but we were like, yeah, I mean, they feel sturdy enough, and we just kept going up. And as we're in the clouds, it like just begins downpouring, and so there was like a rock wall. I tried basically to climb up it and slid down. And I was like, oh my God, call 911. We're going to die out on the trail. And
because around about that same time, it just was a torrential downpour.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And we had trees above us, so it was blocking some of the rain, but we were getting stoked, and the trail was turning to mud, and it wasn't looking good.
Yeah, so basically my phone stopped working, and so he called 911, and they were trying to figure out like where we were at, and so the firefighters came, and they were like trying to spot us on this mountain, and then they were like, well, should we send a helicopter for you guys? And Dusty was like, no, we don't need a helicopter. While I'm like, yes, we need like a helicopter. And so we're like trying to slide down, or I was sliding down on my butt, like down these like, I felt like it was like a mountain mudslide with like the rope. And this like helicopter just like swoops in. The guy like jumps out of it, hooks me up, and then I get like helicopter lifted like off the ground in Hawaii down to the beach. And it was like, oh my God. And then they went back for you.
Yep. Yeah. When the guy was strapping Rachel in, he yelled at me because I was about probably 15 yards behind her on the trail coming down. And he just rappels out of the helicopter, and probably about 50, 75 feet or so from below the helicopter, and has this harness that he unhooks from himself, hooks Rachel up to him, and then he yells at me. He's like, I'll be back for you. And he does this with his hand, and the helicopter just lifts them up off the ground and then takes them. And I don't know how high we were, but I'm estimating like that cliffside we were on was probably about 1,500 feet in elevation. And
wow.
We're just,
so dumb.
Yeah. So when we got harnessed up and taken off the trail, we were just dangling, attached to the sky from the helicopter as they were taking us down to the beach, and then they lowered us down and unhooked us, and then we got checked out by the firefighters and the EMTs and all of this stuff, and
yeah,
got a lecture for being stupid and going on the trail in the rain, and
oh man.
And
so did you go back the next day?
Yeah.
Yeah. But in all fairness, the paramedics had said that we weren't like the first people to do that, and the trail was just marked wrong.
Like the trail that we were looking for was like another mile down the road.
Got it.
We're like,
And
crap.
and the trail that we had gone on was for like experts that had harnesses and ropes and all this stuff, like experienced climbers. And
Which was not us.
yeah,
No.
that was so.
But yeah, and at least we didn't have to pay for the helicopter, I guess. For the helicopter ride.
There's
But
a part
yeah, it never fails though. He has like pictures of me when I'm like hanging in it. And,
Yeah.
Christmas card.
yeah.
You should turn that into an ornament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's a good idea.
There was a point in the story where you were talking about you found the rope and you were tugging on it and it's like, oh yeah, this is fine. It can hold our body weight. When I was growing up, and hopefully my mother isn't listening to this because she'll be upset, but me and my neighbor, there was a pond out behind one of our other neighbors' backyards. And so it was a little bit of a walk, but me and my neighbor went out. It was winter, probably like December, January. And we get to this pond and it's all frozen. And so the plan is to go out into the pond. Well, we've seen, the videos and heard the stories. So we want to make sure that the ice is thick enough that it'll hold our body weight. And so we take a couple rocks and throw it out and it didn't crack. So we're like, okay, it's probably good. We found a basketball and we slammed it real hard on the glass or on the ice there, and it bounced off and went across the pond. It's like, oh yeah, it's probably good. So we're good. So we go out and walk on this pond and we're checking out. There's coyote tracks through it, and it's just kind of slick and sliding around and stuff. And we get probably to the dead center, and it sounds like one of those terrible horror movies of out in nature in the movies. And there's just this deep crack and it echoes throughout the throughout the trees. We start freaking out, and so we get real flat and start crawling towards the side there. Luckily nothing ever happened, but
oh my goodness.
Yeah. Don't use basketballs to test to see if ice will hold your body weight. That was the story of that one.
No.
Yeah, and since then we only go on trails that actually have signs with the name of the trail listed.
Yeah.
If there's no signs, then we turn around and go another one, a different trail to do.
Yeah. Life lessons.
Yeah, that would be good. I used to have life lessons kind of as a joke when I was working as a physical therapy tech or aide while I was in school, but it would just be silly stuff like don't touch the E-stem pads while they're still on, life lesson number 47.
Yep.
That'd be good. That'd be good. Traveling one to do.
Yeah, there you go.
What is something that you would tell? So if there's another couple out there who's wanting to do medical traveling, but they're on the fence, they've kind of heard the stories that maybe they won't find any jobs and stuff like that. What would you tell them in order to kind of help them make a decision?
I would just say, like, make sure that you communicate well with your partner who you're traveling with, so you both are on the same page. And, you know, make sure that you have, like, somebody who's a recruiter who is, like, genuinely trying to get you both jobs and understands what is going to be the best fit for both of you. Because, I mean, we've had a couple of times where people are, like, asking him, you know, Rachel will be okay with taking this job, right? Trying to get, like, one of us to, like, accept something for the other partner, and we're just kind of like, you really need to talk to, you know, him first, or, you know, let me talk to Dusty and I'll get back to you. But you know, and then just, you know, don't be afraid to go out and do it, because, I mean, if one of you has a job, the other one can still, like I said, I mean, I could work PRN, or, you know, another job might just be there, like, a week or two later. I don't really worry about it anymore, like I used to.
Yeah, I mean, if they enjoy traveling and want to experience new places, new things, then yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot. What I've told people is that most assignments are 13 weeks. So worst case scenario is that you hate it, but it's only 13 weeks, so you have to extend, and you can either find another traveling assignment, or if you decide that's not for you, you can always go find another permanent job.
Got it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, like, our recruiter knows you're not going to work inpatient, like, in acute care. Like,
right.
I mean, he won't even ask Dusty about doing acute care because he knows that's, like, not going to happen. So if you had 2 acute care placements, that wouldn't, you know, work for us. But,
I mean, it's nice, the freedom. I mean, we always joke that we'll probably never be able to settle down and find a permanent job, because we usually take like a month off in between assignments. So typically we only work 8 or 9 months out of the year, but I've figured it out that we make more money than just in that time period than we would if we were to take a full-time permanent job.
Yeah.
It has its perks that way. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, that freedom that comes along with it, I think that's the best perk.
Oh yeah.
No worrying about PTO or vacation days or anything like that.
Yep.
Did you guys have any other things that you would like to tell the listeners before we wrapped it up here?
Anything for you?
No, I can think of.
Yeah. No.
All right.
Just say, get out and travel. Just do it.
Well, for the listeners that have any questions for Rachel or Dusty, you can always just tag them in a question in the New Medical Nomads group on Facebook. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer anything about traveling, relationships, football, anything like that.
Yeah, sure.
And then if you are looking for the next couple episodes coming up, find the New Medical Nomads podcast, the Facebook page there. That is going to be the official launch. But if you want to catch the earlier episodes, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel online. That's where you'll find this episode along with all the others, potentially future episodes that haven't necessarily been officially launched yet. But thank you guys so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having us. Yeah.
Tom, thank you.
And you guys have safe travels at your next location.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right.